us introduce to you your speakers for tonight. Dr. Mark Sherwood is a trained naturopathic doctor. His wife, Dr. Michele Neal Sherwood, is a trained doctor of osteopathic medicine. Together, Doctors Mark and Michele are on a mission to eliminate all self-driven sickness and disease. The Sherwoods lead a successful medical practice, the Functional Medical Institute. They also provide resources, including their Amazon bestsellers, The Quest for Wellness and Fork Your Diet, nutrition plans, a full-length documentary on Amazon Prime Video, and extensive online training to help you take control of your health. Doctors Mark and Michele travel the world to train other doctors how to do what they do. But today, they are here with you. And they want to be here because they believe your life matters.
Welcome, everybody, to our Optimal Health webinar. We are so grateful that you are here with us today.
So I'm Dr. Mark Sherwood, and this is my wonderful wife slash best friend slash queen, Dr. Michele. And together, we lead the Functional Medical Institute team here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, with one goal in mind. We want to help you not just experience good health, but optimal health. So we've had the privilege of helping thousands of people all over the world reach their health goals, and we couldn't be more excited to be helping you meet yours as well, beginning now. So to kick off this presentation, we're going to show you a little bit of a video. Take a look.
What will your last 10 years look like? Will you be quick enough for a game of tag with your grandchild? Strong enough to embrace every moment? Will you grow old with vitality? Or get old with disease? It's time to decide.
Wow, that one gets us every time I watch that, and it truly brings up some significant emotions. The most path that most Americans leads takes them to the place that you saw of us that none of us wants to be in the last 10 years. Maybe even worse than that. If I ask you right now if you wanted to experience this thing called optimal health all the way to the end of your life, I know the answer would be certainly a resounding yes. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. So our hats are off to you today for taking a step that most frankly are unwilling to take. You're here getting yourself educated, motivated, and inspired to experience the best health you could possibly imagine. But as you probably noticed, it's a fight, a literal fight, to get to optimal health. We have this thing called the healthcare system that we expect to take care of us. But we really should understand it probably should be called the sick care system. Or how about the insurance industry altogether anyway? We expect them to pay for your health, but that's not the case at all. Now, let me talk to you a little bit about car insurance and sort of homeowners insurance, just to paint a good picture of what I'm talking about. How many of you out there have car insurance? Well, I know I can virtually see your hands coming up, right, or nodding. You have car insurance because you want your car to be fixed when it gets in a wreck. In other words, if you run into something or somebody runs into you and that car gets in a wreck, you want it to pay. But does your car insurance pay you to put gas in your car? or to clean your car, or to put air in the tires. I think you're starting to get the point I'm making. How about homeowners insurance? How many of you out there have homeowners insurance? And when does it pay? It pays clearly when the home gets damaged by an act of God, as they say, or some kind of natural disaster. Does your homeowner's insurance pay for you to service your air conditioning unit in the heat of the summer? Does your homeowner's insurance pay you to cut your grass, or perhaps even clean your house? And finally, when does health insurance pay? You got the answer. It's when you're sick. That's why there is no such thing as health insurance. It really should be called sick insurance. Do we need it? Yes. Because we need something to pay for things if we get into some kind of accident or something happens to us. Unfortunately, we want to make sure we're in the best sick care system. We probably have that. But we have one of the worst preventive care health systems. So we need to understand that the pathway to the best health or optimal health is not always the seemingly obvious pathway. There's going to be quite a bit of resistance because it's going to be a little counterculture. So let us tonight begin to arm you and strengthen you with the information you need to get on the straight and narrow and live your best life ever.
Most people run to the latest diet when trying to improve their health. The problem is there is no one-size-fits-all diet. You need a health plan that's unique to you. The way we develop this customized plan is through this 5-step approach. So let's work through each one of these. Before we go to the next slide, below this video, click the link to download the workbook, and you can use it to take notes along the way. So we talk about what we can learn from genetics, analyzing your DNA and your labs. It's not optimal when labs come back just normal. There are ranges, and we want to make sure that our scorecard gets straight A's.
This is why it's significant to know your genetics, because they're personal to you. Did you know our genes have only changed 2% in 10,000 years? Further, we are all, as human beings, 99.9% identical in our DNA. But oh, my friends, the differences in the DNA is striking, and knowing those differences gets you pinpointed information which you can use and you can utilize to put into a plan to give you, get this, predictable improvement in this thing called disease resilience. I like that because that's the ability to avoid disease processes, and that's what we all should be striving to do.
So we also discuss how we develop a unique plan using a strategy with your genetics.
And as stated, they're so unique that by correctly interpreting the data, developing this unique strategy that's personalized and it's customized and even individualized to you, we can create a plan that is going to be yours. It's like a blueprint for life. And when people come in and go through that, they're like, wow, now I have a plan that is meaningful to me.
We discuss how nutrition, exercise, stress, and all of these things play a part in this life plan for you. It's not a short-term diet.
We can't stand the word diet. You take the T off. What does that spell, Dr. Michele?
Die. Who on earth wants to die?
No kidding. We don't need temporary lifestyle plans. Diet simply means temporary. We need to live with a plan that's generated genetically with a unique strategy to get a lifestyle change that's not temporary, folks. It's permanent. Now, how many want a permanent plan where you don't struggle with this stuff anymore? I know that that's a desire that we all have.
Once we implement your new lifestyle, now we're going to measure, we're going to track your progress and fine-tune your long-term outcome using things like our DEXA scan, our whole body scanner with DEXA technology, or our in-body with bioimpedance.
It's important to understand that measurables are critical to success. If you can't measure something, why are you doing it? Everything needs to be quantified with this measurable, and Dr. Michele just mentioned a couple of them. When you get all these interdependent factors going on with this plan we're talking about to generate this idea of optimal health and wellness, it's amazing. And it's important to understand all of these systems have to work together, and it gets often confused. But tonight, we're going to talk about one area that especially gets extremely confused. There's a ton of misinformation out there. There's a ton of erroneous information out there. And we're going to unravel tonight the mystery of hormones.
So now let's discuss the role that hormones play in health. People think hormones are the magic pill, but it really works together with everything we've just mentioned. So now let's talk through some of the most important hormones so you can understand how hormones relate to optimal health. The first hormone is the blood sugar hormone, insulin. When we eat, insulin is secreted by the pancreas to control blood sugar. When insulin becomes too high from eating too many carbohydrates, it pulls your blood sugar down very quickly. Then we are driven back to the refrigerator to eat again. This is called the vicious cookie cycle. Anybody who's addicted to carbohydrates knows exactly what I'm talking about. If this is not controlled, weight is an issue, disease processes will develop, inflammation will increase, and your sex hormones will never be balanced.
Which leads us to this one, cortisol. We like to call this a stress hormone, but understand it's a stress management hormone. So in good amounts at the proper time, it's beneficial because it helps us be alert and prepare to do what we do every day, such as work, such as be a good husband, such as be a father or a son. So it's essential to understand it plays an important role in helping the body, helping the body respond to stress. Now this, unlike insulin, must be handled in priority. So stress can and will kill you if not handled properly. So cortisol can drive the hormone pathways, and if not managed appropriately with nutrition and lifestyle management, it will, as we stated, make balancing hormones with hormones only. I said balancing hormones with hormones only, frankly, impossible.
The next hormone is leptin, the satiety hormone. It helps regulate energy and signals the brain to let you know when you are full and need to stop eating. Leptin is made in the fat cells. So more body fat equals more leptin. And now you have a receptor problem and a leptin imbalance. Just like too much insulin creates an insulin resistance, too much leptin creates leptin resistance, and now your brain cannot hear the signal. This is going to lead to insulin resistance, thyroid dysfunction, and a decreased metabolism, affecting one of the major metabolic hormones that's the next hormone in the conversation,
which is the dreaded thyroid. Now this one gets really confused. Now every cell in the body, you should know, depends on thyroid hormones for metabolism. So thyroid hormones regulate the following: body temperature, breathing, heart rate, nervous system, body composition, ladies, your menstrual cycles, cholesterol levels, who knew, and many, many more. Now hyper, which is too much thyroid, hyperthyroidism leads to anxiety, moodiness, nervousness, sweating, sensitivity to heat, hair loss, and more. On the converse side, hypo, or too little, hypothyroidism leads to insomnia, fatigue, lack of focus, depression, sensitivity to cold, joint and muscle pain, weight gain, and much, much more.
Now for the fun stuff. Let's talk about sex hormones. If you're a female and you've ever experienced menopause, you know how all of these hormones affect your health. And men, don't think that this doesn't apply to you. You experience symptoms called menopause, otherwise known as andropause. There are 4 sex hormones, so let's start with each one of them and talk about how each is unique.
The first one we want to talk about is DHEA, dehydroepiandrosterone. Now that's a mouthful. That's why we labeled it DHEA instead. So it's important to understand that DHEA is produced in the adrenal glands. And the levels of DHEA begin to decline in all men and women in their late 20s. By the time we get to 70, our body only makes about 1/4 of the DHEA it used to make. So when we talk about self-prescribing DHEA, this hormone is available out there, it becomes a unique problem because if we get too much DHEA, especially in the women, we can get a lot of acne, excess androgen production, which is not good. It can make you very moody, have a lot of aggression, and we can even see further negative behaviors. So by all means, don't self-dose DHEA. Find an expert to help you with that.
The next hormone is estrogen, the female sex hormone. Estrogen has gotten a bad rap since the Women's Health Initiative in 2002 crushed female hormone replacement, and it has yet to recover. Estrogen has many positive benefits if it's balanced. It controls cholesterol. It protects your heart. It protects the bones and the skin. Estrogen and serotonin are married. So no estrogen, no happy feel-good hormone, serotonin. Estrogen thickens and humidifies the mucous membranes and the moisture in your eyes. It controls hot flashes. It can have some negative effects if it's not balanced, including putting weight on your abdomen, weight on your hips, decreasing libido, increasing headaches, causing depression and anxiety. Progesterone is the mother hormone. It sits at the top of the food chain and it contributes to cortisol. Oftentimes, it's thought to be the cortisol stolen hormone when we're under stress. It prepares the body for pregnancy and helps regulate the monthly cycle. It's also very important in protecting the breasts and the uterine lining. It protects the nerves. It's also important in supporting body fat burning, mental processing, and it's this hormone of deep sleep and also helps combat anxiety and depression.
We talk about this next one coming up. It's testosterone. It's known as a male sex hormone, but did you know, ladies, you have a good amount of testosterone as well, just not quite as much as men. Now, after age 30, men, you're going to lose about 1 to 3% of testosterone production per year, and that will be exacerbated highly likely with stress, toxins, etc. And you can see where we're going with that. It's probably becoming a greater loss each year, hence we're seeing a lot of men with low testosterone. Now, women, for you, it's important to know that you have less, so between 20 and 40 years of age, you are going to lose 50% or 1/2 of your testosterone production. And that's very significant because, listen carefully, the brain is rich in testosterone receptors. And this is critical to get. Women get Alzheimer's disease 8 to 1 over men. Could it be the loss of testosterone? I suspect that would be a major factor. Therefore, women on testosterone are 50% less likely to develop Alzheimer's disease. For men, men with low testosterone are actually 3 times more likely to develop Alzheimer's disease than those with optimal levels.
Your hormones are unique to you. Hormone replacement is not a one-size-fits-all. You are unique, and you need an expert to help determine the correct therapy for your body. There are 3 steps to hormone balance. Nutrition is first. It's 85% of your long-term outcome. Nutrition, nutrition, nutrition. It's what's at the end of your fork. We call it fork curls, the most important exercise to manage. Second is stress management. If we're stressed out all the time, stress, we're never going to have balanced hormones. And then third is practitioner evaluation. That's where we come in. You need an expert.
So, Dr. Michele, where is the most important medical decision made?
The most important medical decision that you make every single day, sometimes 3 times a day, 365 days of the year, is at the end of your fork.
Wow, those are words of wisdom. So now I want to get back to this full picture. Here we have what we just talked about, genetics. We know that's a big deal. When we look at the genetics, we know those are unique and those are personal to us, and we know that from that we have to develop some kind of unique strategy that is going to bring about not temporary lifestyle change, but permanent lifestyle change. And then we have to, within the concept of developing a strategy that's derived to make permanent change, we have to craft in there these measurables, things that keep us engaged, because I don't know, but I learned when I was in school to try to make A's. When I was baseball, I would try to hit a base hit or a home run. I never tried to strike out. I tried to get a perfect score. And when we talk about this measurable, one of the things we talk about tonight, and we did a pretty good job of that, is these hormones. And they are complex. They're not straightforward. So they all interact. These 8 hormones we talked about tonight are all not independent, but they're interdependent. They all operate with a cross functionality together. Our system is a system. It's not singular things. That's where people go wrong. So this is the full picture, and hormones are just one part of the puzzle. We even use peptides quite a bit that are signaling molecules. And all of this designed to get optimal health. And we're going to help you in all of these 5 areas, starting with your genetics, to create that strategy I talked about. And we want this permanent lifestyle plan, and just know that along the way, we're going to adjust your hormones by adding bioidenticals when they are indicated properly. Now, if all this goes well, which it does most of the time, and we really have had incredible success with this, there are some comments that people make that describe how they feel. Check these comments out.
I have an increased energy level. I have a restored interest in my life. I have an increased sex drive and libido. My moods are consistent. I have relief from anxiety and depression. I have increased mental clarity and less foggy brain. And I have a decreased body fat. No more muffin tops or doolies.
So remember, back to our equation again. Don't we want optimal health? Don't we want this thing that seems to be missing in healthcare, which is, frankly, health? Don't we want to change the tide and the trends of our society? Don't we really want to have balanced, optimal hormone function? Do we really want to be normal? I think probably, Dr. Michele, that most people, including you and I, we want to function in an optimal manner. And optimal is nowhere near normal. Normal is less than optimal. So when someone tells you, let's be normal, I think you should begin to raise a red flag and begin to try to separate yourself from that and strive for more. We need to set our bar higher than just mediocre. The battle for just mediocrity has begun. Friend, we got to set the bar high enough where we need help to reach it. So we really appreciate the achievements that we made. Now, our healthcare system is not, once again, designed to lead you to optimal health. As we talked about, it's designed to help you manage where you are. Hence, it's a sick care system designed to manage sickness. Again, we're not knocking it. We need medication. We're not anti-medication. We're just anti-dependence upon medication to bring about health, because it doesn't do it. That's not what it's supposed to do. So let's use our sick care system for exactly what it is used for. We need it for emergencies, but we can't rely on it to experience best health. That's being deceived, and that's being fooled. Perhaps we're fooling ourselves. We've got to make a decision. Are we going to get on the side of health, or are we going to stay in the concept or the side of sickness. An analogy I like to use is this. Some people would be able to visualize this. I'm going to paint a picture for you. So Dr. Michele and I are walking through the countryside and we run across a barbed wire fence. The barbed wire fence is very, very tight. It's a brand new fence. It has sharp barbs on it. Brand new, put up. And the fence, to get over it, I have to, with all my force, push it down with both hands, put one leg over. Now, when I straddle that fence, and if I don't make a decision, those barbs, as I'm holding them down, if I don't hold them down, they're going to come up right between my legs and, well, they'll hit me you know where. The point being is if we don't get on one side of the fence or the other, we're not making that decision. And it will absolutely, get this, castrate us from moving further in life. And we need to understand that making a decision like this, getting on one side or the other, is really a prerequisite for experiencing what we're supposed to experience in life. Now, right now, we do have a choice. We can continue in what we call the standard American life, standard American lifestyle, or even the standard American lie, which is sick care. Or we can start down a pathway called optimal health. And if you're ready for this optimal health, your next step is to schedule a one-on-one consultation with us. Now, during the first consultation, here's what happens. We're going to listen to your story. I was telling someone today that the greatest healers have 2 ears and know when to shut up. We're going to listen to you, and we're going to listen to that story, and we're going to make sure we heard you correctly. We're going to listen intently, not with our ears, but with our heart. We want to know where you are, and we're going to listen to you and form a plan to get you where you want to be. So to that end, we're going to ask you your goals, and we want you to set those goals, and we're going to help you get there. Now, usually these first appointments are $287, but tonight we're discounting them for $97. And get this, you can even bring someone with you at no additional charge. Bring your spouse, your sibling, your parents, your best friend. The process is better together. Just like the slide says, we need to be ready to get out of the sick care model. That is a drowning atmosphere in which no one needs to stay in because there's no way out. So appointments, people ask, do they need to be in person? We have a lot of people that we are able to help around the globe. We use a lot of Zoom appointments or things of that nature. So electronics give us no barriers. We can get blood drawn anywhere. We can get DNA done, so there's no issues with distance. Now, because you took the time to listen tonight, we have appointments set aside just for those listening right now. You can schedule those and schedule your appointment online right now at fmidr.com/schedule. So we're going to stick around for a few more minutes to answer some questions. And go ahead and put your questions in the chat. And we're going to show you a quick video while you get all your questions ready. And we'll be right back.
It was a little slow journey at first, and eventually was diagnosed with cancer, actually, uveal melanoma, which is a really extremely rare form of eye cancer. And that sort of pushed me a little bit faster forward with wanting to get healthy and working with Dr. Michele. And it was kind of an up and down battle of getting through that and getting healed and coming out on the other side of that. And through the process of follow-up care for that, I had to do routine MRIs and of my liver and abdomen. And when we did that, at one point I was diagnosed with fatty liver disease. And so that was really when things got real, and when Dr. Michele started pushing me to make real changes, real lifelong lifestyle changes, and to meet with Dr. Mark. You know, we have this tendency to fall into staying the same because the fear of change is so big, and we don't change until the cost of staying the same outweighs the cost of change. And I think we have to just recognize that it's worth it. God has more for you. He has a better plan for you. And Dr. Mark and Michele know that, and they encourage people to live their best life through a variety of means. It's not, like I said, it's physical health and spiritual health and all those things combined. So I say, I would tell anyone thinking about, do I want to take this step? It's worth the cost, it's worth the time, it's worth the energy, it's worth the effort, and just, go for it.